Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Diamond Crystal, the gallivanting grandma, and I'm back. I've been in the studio quite a bit. Y'all looking at my YouTube videos and following along? If you are, I want to say thank you so very much. It means the world to me. And please make sure that you like and subscribe, comment on this video. I meet the most incredible people in these international streets, and today is absolutely no exception to that rule. All right, so I have a very special guest that I'm bringing on today. But for those of you who may be new to my channel and not know a lot about me, the Gallivanting Grandma, let me just say that I am a global nomad. I am a five-star international house sitter. I am an intentional connector out in these international streets, and I am a travel ambassador for women over 55 who are looking to embrace a new journey in their lives with grace and ease. All right, enough about me. You did not come here to hear me talk, and boy, are you in for a treat today. I'm gonna bring one of my fabulous sister girls to the stage, so hang on just one moment. Hey, sis.
Hugs,
Oh,
hugs, hugs.
I am so excited to have you here today. Oh my gosh, it's been a while.
Yes, yes. I'm excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you for doing the thing. Thank you for doing your gallivanting.
Girl, I can't
We'll
stop,
be
won't
watching
stop,
you.
can't stop, won't stop.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
As I say, somebody's got to do it, so it might as well be me,
And you
okay?
do it well, sis. You do it well.
I appreciate that so very much. So, anyway, listen, this is my girl, Barbara. Barbara, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
So my name is Barbara. My mama named me Barbara, but I have accumulated the name Ohuninfa, which is a spiritual name that basically means I belong to God and I'm honorable.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
I'm out here trying to do things. So it's Ohu Nini Fa. Some people call me Nini, but you'll see me with the book that I've written. My
Mhm.
book that's out now is Barbara Pamplin is my author name, is my, is the government
Okay,
name.
all right.
So yeah, so I'm an author, a speaker, a coach, a consultant. When you're doing the things, you do all the things
You
because
do
we are
all the things.
multidimensional. So I lean into all the things.
Of course, you have to. And I'm so glad that I'm leaning into your things today. Oh my goodness, girl. All right, so let's do a little backstory because people really, I don't know if they believe when I tell them that I meet the most phenomenal people in these international streets. And I really, really do. So, you and I, it was a year ago
Yep.
that we connected in Costa Rica.
Ooh, that was a good time. That was a good time. Yes, yes,
It
yes.
it absolutely was. All right. Well, I was house sitting in Costa Rica in different areas of the country, and you were there, as I recall, on a healing journey. So I want to start like
Yes.
right there with healing. Tell me what that
Hmm.
means to you.
Oh, there's so many layers to it, right? Like, for me, because I had been through so many significant health traumas, to
Mm-hmm.
where doctors will call me miracle child, and still try to figure out how are you still here and what's the deal. But at the same
Mm.
time, I was going through health traumas, and that was like years ago, like 5 years ago now. Well, maybe 7 years ago. Whew. Anyway,
Wow. Look,
impact on
look,
my body.
look at your blessing, girl.
I'm like, oh, that was okay. I'm still here. All right. So the health trauma, divorce, job, like so many things in my life had just bit by bit in
Mm-hmm.
really grand ways was stripped away. And I was still trying to figure out who am I and
Mm.
and and how to function. So Costa Rica was just calling me because I needed to get back in my body even more and to heal my body and just go on a different trajectory. And so I had an incredible experience. I was there for 2 months, and part of that
Mm.
experience was meeting Miss Diamond Crystal, and we were able to turn up a little bit, spend some
Oh,
time
I
in
think
the
we turned
jungle,
up a lot.
you
I ain't
know.
trying to give away no secrets, but we did turn up a lot.
Listen, that's how I knew I was supposed to be there because all of the people, places, and things that I needed showed up.
showed up.
all
The
the
universe
things.
always delivers, does it not, sis?
Every time. You just gotta, if you take one step, your ancestors, the universe, everything come rushing towards you to help. Just take
That's
the
right.
step.
Just take the step. You know my favorite hashtag, faith over fear. Come on
Listen,
now,
it's real.
please.
It's
It's
real.
it's very real. Let's back up a second because you said the doctors were trying to figure out how you were still here. All right, so
Mhm.
how? But we know the why, and you discovered the why, have you not? We know why you still here.
I discovered the why, but I'm gonna keep it real. As a Black woman in this country, I
Hmm.
have to remind myself and have community, people like you, people like Sisters Who Sit, people, Black women who understand, who can witness and remind me who the fuck I am. So
Okay, let's
that's
talk
part.
about that. Let's talk
That's
about
part.
that. And yes, thank you for shouting out the group Sisters Who Sit. You know that that is a big part of my heart. That is a big part of
Mhm.
my work, why I'm here. And I'm proud to say we 1,400 plus strong right now.
Oh wow, it's grown so quickly.
It has, it has. And so I'm very grateful for that blessing. All right, but I want to get into, on Instagram, you are beautiful, powerful love.
That's
And
it.
just knowing you as a person, I can say, you couldn't have picked a better handle because you just personify all three of those things.
Oh,
Tell
thank
me,
you. Thank you.
tell me why that handle.
Ooh, child. So this was in the process of writing my first book, I started before I had all of the health traumas. Didn't know it was
Hmm.
coming, but it was coming.
Mm.
And what happened was that year, this was 2017, and I was trying to lose weight and I was doing the things and I was losing weight. It was coming off, but I
Yeah.
wasn't seeing anything different in the mirror. And
Okay. Okay.
then, so I'm looking in the mirror, and without going, I can go into the detail, but I practice African spirituality, and I work
Hmm.
with a African goddess named Oshun, and one of her implements is the mirror because it's about looking at yourself, self-reflection to understand where you need to heal, where
Yeah.
you need to improve. So I'm
Yeah.
like looking in the mirror, and I'm like, damn, the scale is going down, and the sizes is going down, but I don't look any different to me.
To
And I
you.
heard what I believed about myself was fat, black, and unlovable. But the
Mm.
truth was that I am beautiful, powerful love. So each of those words, the fat, black, and unlovable, those limiting beliefs, each word flipped into something else. So the beautiful wasn't fat, you're beautiful.
Right.
Black is your power, and you're not unlovable, you are love.
You
And
are
so
love.
that was the mantra that I received staring in the mirror at myself, trying to figure out why I couldn't see the 20 pounds that was gone, the
Uh
40
huh.
pounds that
Uh
was
huh.
gone.
Uh huh.
And it was like, baby, you got to let go of those old beliefs, those toxic beliefs that you have taken on, and know the truth. Beautiful, powerful love. So that became the thing that reminded me
Yes.
who the fuck I
Yes.
am. I guess it keeps coming back
There
to
you
that.
go. There you go. So that's your IG handle. And then listen, if anybody wants to know anything about you, I'm gonna tell them to go to your website because the first thing you see on your website is Black women are dope as fuck. And I was like, that's my girl right there. Like, just put it plain in your face. Bam. Have no doubt about it.
Listen, there's no, and it wasn't even when I actually go back and read my own website because
Yeah.
a lot of the way that I wrote the book as well as the website, I just kind of work with my ancestors, and I will write the thing because people communicate and do their spirit things in different ways. Mine is just
Right.
writing. So I will write and go back and be like, oh shit, did I say that? Oh wait,
Uh-huh.
they talking to me. So
About that.
everything I wrote on that site is what I needed to hear. And I'm like, damn, okay, I'm not the only one that need to hear this.
How about
Sisters
that?
need to understand who we are in this world. We
All
created
right.
all this shit.
Oh my goodness, girl. All right, I talk a lot, and it's interesting that you say that because everything that I do, everything that I present, from any interview that I'm doing, any piece that's on my blog, anything that you see me post, it's because I need it. It's for
Right.
me, right? So I'm like, if I need it, somebody else needs it too, right? And isn't that really what this journey is all about? When you discover something about yourself, to be able to share it out of love and positivity with another sister.
Whew, that's it right there.
I mean, isn't that it in a nutshell? I mean, have we finished the whole interview? I mean, that's really just it. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get it, you get it.
That is it. Like when I was in there, as I was in the hospital in intensive care for 50 days, had
Mm,
3 open heart surgeries. I died 3 times.
girl.
And that was just the first leg. Then I had a few years later, more surgeries, had to have organs taken out and all the things. But every
Mm,
time I go through those things, I went through those things. What got me through is knowing this cannot be for no purpose. I am
that's
not, suffering is not pointless. Like I'm going through a thing so that I can get a medicine that I can then share with others. And the
exactly.
only way I have chosen, because there's multiple ways to get your lessons, but for
Hmm.
whatever reason, I chose to get mine hard.
Yeah,
So
girl, talk
let me
about
get the
hard.
lessons and shit right.
I mean, when we first met, and it was just a call out because you know how I do on Facebook. I'm like, yo, who in Costa Rica who wants to get together? And you answered the call.
I
And
said,
we met up at the National Theater down
yeah.
in downtown Costa Rica, San Jose. And, it just, when you started dropping why you were in the country, and medically, you were saying stuff I ain't even never heard of. I was like, you had what? And then what happened? I said to myself, this woman is a walking, talking miracle if I've ever seen one, if I've ever met a miracle. And for you to be able to shine as brightly as you do, sis.
Shit.
Every time I see you, it's just phenomenal, you know? So talk to me about that inner light that I see.
Well, I've struggled with depression basically my whole life. But now I'm understanding because, it never fully goes away, but I understand when you start understanding things spiritually, when there's a bright light that is needed in the world, it also is accompanied by that darkness. And that darkness
Mm,
was depression.
mm,
So it's like I had to go through all the things that I've gone through to learn how to manage, and not even manage, but to leverage the depression. Like someone told me once, a teacher I was working with, in that when your body is trying to manage high levels of anxiety,
mm.
depression may come in order to keep you from just like, I won't say exploding, but from things going too far.
Yeah.
And so, so I think the light was always there. And even when I think
Hmm.
about my family, right? So I'm the
Yeah.
youngest born.
Hmm.
My They had me because my brother drowned. So I
Oh
never met
Lord,
my brother.
that's traumatic. Yeah.
Very traumatic. And they think, it was 1968 in Indiana, in an area where Ku Klux Klan was very active. And so
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not sure it was an accidental drowning, but that was the trauma that my family was under when they
Hmm.
said, let's have another kid. And so
Yeah.
my mama's mourning. So like I was steeped in all of this, but what I realized, I came to bring more light to that house,
There you go.
to my family. And
Yes.
even though I didn't see that for many, many, many years later, when talking to my sisters,
Hmm.
it was like, "Oh yeah, you was always the one. You picked everything up. You like, because if it ain't right if it ain't a good time for me." So
Girl, I'm a witness to that, and I'm so grateful I am because, like we said, we had a fabulous time. But
time.
what you said was so true, and it resonates with so many of the sisters that I talk to. Is that the light was always in there. You had to be able to get to a place where you could first of all recognize it in yourself,
Yes.
manage it for yourself before you could start sharing it with others.
Right.
And I think that's part of the challenge as black women, is that we want to do so much for everybody else before we've done the work for ourselves.
Yes. And check this. Others will see your light. Others will gravitate to that light and want to consume that light. And I was in a position where I was looking for others to validate and tell me I had light, but they didn't give a
Yeah.
shit about that. They was trying to take.
Right. Right.
So it was, to
Energy.
your point, recognizing it for myself
Energy
that
vampires. Yes.
fully. And Black
Fully.
women, we just the shit anyway. Everybody want a piece of this, even if they don't want to admit it.
Oh, you better say that again. You better say that again. Listen, that's why, the systemic racism, the historical trauma, all of that was to keep us down, to keep us from realizing how phenomenal we really are in this world. I mean, we the birthplace of civilization, period, end of story. It all came through us.
Period.
Period.
Period. Like all of it. Even when I look around in this, because I'm back in the United States for a little while.
All
Even
right,
when I
all
look
right.
around, I'm just like, everything that was done, everything that was created came out of the womb of a Black woman.
Mm.
Because you had us birthing and birthing and birthing and taking our children and putting them to work, and I'm talking about from slavery, Jim Crow, Reconstruction, civil, like
Yeah,
all of it. The
right.
people that have built this country has been on the backs and out of the wombs of Black women.
You better say that again.
Listen, and they
That's that's
people can get
unde- that's
upset.
undeniable fact right there.
Well, facts these days, people don't really care about what's actual fact. They just
Wait a minute, and you know where we not gonna go? We not gonna go there.
yeah.
You know.
But I will say, the whole idea of, the Black women remembering and knowing who we are and the power that we
Mhm,
have, that we
mhm.
are beautiful, that we are powerful, that we are the essence of love. Once we heal and can
Mhm.
do that, it's good for everybody because that's just
That's
how
good.
we do.
That's right. That's right.
Energetically and literally, when we can be good, we make sure it's good for our families, the communities, everybody.
That's right. That's right. That's the epitome of spread love, is it not?
Yep. Period. But that doesn't mean self-sacrifice. That doesn't mean go out here and start, doing all the things, being the martyr and just giving it away
Mm-mm.
and depleting yourself, doing things in balance,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
loving yourself first. That's been another part of my life, my journey, is
Yeah.
knowing what it actually means to love myself.
Mm. Let,
And
let,
I'm
let's
still on
stop
that
there.
journey.
What does that mean to love yourself? Talk to me.
I mean, there's the big grandiose things, but what I'm really focusing on these days is
Mhm.
what does that mean every day? What
Every
does
day.
that mean in terms of how I eat, what foods I drink, people that I'm around? A sister said to me once, "You apologize a lot. Maybe you should rethink the people you're around and why you feel like you have to apologize to be who you are." And I
Oh
said, "Oh, well,
wow.
God."
Wow. I bet you that stopped you in your tracks.
It stopped me. I was like,
Wait a
"Ooh,
minute. Let me scratch my head on that one. Like Arsenio used to say things that make you say,
hmm." Like for real. But the
Yeah.
loving myself more and more is about the small little things. And you know what else is a big one? How you
Mhm.
speak to yourself internally.
Yes. Yes.
I still am working on that because the self-criticism can it's almost like we try to preempt the shit that we're going to
Hmm.
hear out there by saying it to ourselves first, so it's
That's
not as
right.
hurtful when we hear it from outside of
When we
ourselves.
hear
But
it, and so we get desensitized to it, right? Because
yeah,
we're saying it to ourselves on a regular basis,
yeah.
unbeknownst a lot of times.
It just is automatic. But that's part of what has to go because we need to be able to shore ourselves up. I
That's
gotta pour into me because can't nobody else pour into me the way I can pour into me. But
that's
that
right.
takes focus. And I had to learn, I'm learning. I can't even say had to. I'm still
Mhm.
learning that skill.
Yes.
Because it's
Yes.
not one that our mamas could teach us because they didn't have it.
Same. Same. I know my mother didn't have it. My mother was a giver to the point that she was like depleted on a regular basis, you
Yep.
know, to show emotion or to show weary and fatigue, that was just not allowed. You know,
Hmm.
I was sharing with a sister girl just recently. I said, my grandmother was like, she would admonish me when I was washing the dishes. Stand up straight, straighten your back. You slouching over the sink like you tired or lazy. Well, maybe I was tired and maybe I was feeling lazy that day, but you weren't allowed to show that, to
Right.
display that, right? Because what would that say about her and my mom? And So you grow up with all this, let's call it what it is, bullshit,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you don't know how to find a way out of that until you start surrounding yourself with sisters who can say, hold up, wait a minute. That's not what I see. Why
Right.
why are you talking to yourself like that?
Right. That is exactly what happens for me. Like, I have these circles of women that I belong to, and each one, there's the concept that one of the sisters talked about, circle medicine. There's something that happens when you're with other women, especially
Yeah,
Black women.
yeah.
And we could just be chit chatting or doing some focused healing work, but there's something that happens. It's like our ancestral mothers come in and they be like, oh, our babies are gathered. Let us come in and help them out. And I'm doing this because it's like there's an energy that just circles around and be like, oh, everybody
Absolutely.
getting some of this today. Everybody
That's
getting
right.
some.
That's right. Oh my goodness. There is definitely potency in the gathering of the sisterhood, you
Ooh,
know?
you said a
And,
whole
and,
word.
and that is exactly why you got to have safe spaces where you can be your true, authentic self, because I know for me, being in corporate America, the majority of my life, it was mask on, mask off, code switching and doing all the things that it took to be successful as a Black woman in this
Mm-hmm.
world, navigating, right? And so those are things that you got to unlearn,
Yes. Yes. And it's
because
like an unraveling.
yes,
It's like you were
yes,
bound up and you got to unravel all that stuff you were bound up with. And then
that's right.
it's like it's like what I just saw was the scene from The Wiz
Uh-huh.
when they killed Eveline and all of the workers kind of unzipped out of these bodies and they were like
Yes,
all fresh and clean and could stretch and do things. That's it right there.
that's it
We got to kill
right
that evil witch.
there. That's it right there. Kill that witch. She has no more power. She has no more energy. And it's the energy that we give her is why she can still exist. Right?
Ooh, ooh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Uh,
talking to ourselves, physically, right? You
mhm.
describe you said what you saw in the mirror was not what you now say to yourself, right? But that's
Right.
because we have been spoon fed this Eurocentric standard of beauty for so very long. My hair doesn't look like this, or I should have more hair, or I shouldn't have, whatever the case may be, right?
Mhm.
You can't be yourself because you don't even really know what that looks like mentally.
Ooh, for real.
Mentally.
Exactly, exactly. So in the first, I keep saying my first book because I'm birthing the next one. It's coming out before this
Girl,
year is
you
over.
go with your bad self.
The first book I talk about is called From Fat, Black, and Unlovable to Beautiful, Powerful Love. I just put it all there in the title.
Yeah.
But one of the things I talk about is the stereotypes of Black women
Mhm.
and how, like, five in particular, and how they impacted me at different stages of my life. And
Mm.
one of them I called "If You Ain't White, You Better Look Like Bunny DeBarge." Now you know Bunny exactly.
Girl,
Everybody
no,
in
you
our age
didn't
group
go
know about.
there. Did you go there?
I went there. You know what
Wow.
that is. And then I
Mm.
talked about, the obviously the mammy. And for me, that showed up as Nell Carter and Give Me a Break. And when you
Yes.
break down that story and even her story, that was
Hmm.
completely a mammy reborn. Like, even
Yes.
to how they did Aunt Jemima, it's like all of the things. So, and
All
then
the
the
things.
Jezebel
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
angry Black woman, like all of these things. And like, I've been all of these or
Oh my
tried to find
goodness.
myself. As I'm
Yes.
trying to
Yes.
find myself, these were the options I had. So I didn't even know how to define myself. So it was like first understanding what's the kernel of reality in those stereotypes that then they just blew out of proportion. Okay,
Hmm.
Mammy was a nurturer. That's
Hmm.
something that we naturally do. They just took that shit to a whole other understanding and level and capitalized on it. We're
Exactly.
all sensual, sexual beings, and
Hmm.
we pop a little different than some others. You know what I'm saying? So, but that don't mean we a Jezebel. We ain't out there giving it all away or selling it. And if we do,
You
so what?
know,
Sex work, do what you got to do.
listen. I mean, it's an industry. It's the oldest industry in the world. So if that's how you choose to make your money, that's your business because that's your body.
That
But we
part.
not gonna go there, right? Because then we gonna be skirting, walking that line of political talk. And I know what I know. Miss one of the 44,000 on the
There we
call. You
go.
better.
There we go. Listen. That's like the political. That's a whole other podcast. And then there's
Yep.
like an after dark version that we can do. That's a whole other one. We have to do that at nighttime.
My goodness, I have to bring my daughter Simone into it, because she has this traveling kink event that she
Oh,
does all over the country, and now she's getting ready to go international, right? And you know what comes to mind when somebody says kink, but it's like, where's the kink in your life? Is it sexual? Is it financial? Is it mental? Is it a relationship kink? Let's work out the kink. So anyway, that's an after
ooh,
that's an after dark conversation. That's gonna have to be a three-way. We're
exactly.
gonna have to have another part of the screen right there.
Exactly. Because that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing that I'm learning and exploring on this journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll stick a pin in that, come back to that.
Yeah,
But
we'll come
yes.
back to that. We'll come back to that. But I say, if I say it once, I say it 1,000 times. Representation matters. So if you don't see reflections of power, success, beauty in your everyday existence, then you are not going to be able to see it in yourself. So I would not be house sitting internationally had I not seen somebody who looked like me doing it. Like, yo, that's a thing. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, it really is a thing, right? And that's just one small example, but you said you're a published author. You're doing all these other amazing things, but you had to see somebody else doing it, or see a void and fill it.
Mm-hmm. I think um me right well, you know what? Writing the book was a multiple of things. Maya Angelou had always been my hero. Shiro.
Yes. Yes.
And just reading her stories and about her life and the
Mm-hmm.
traumas that she went through. That
Yes.
was always something that stuck with me. Octavia Butler,
Mm-hmm.
incredible. Like she it's like science fiction, but I just think she was doing premonitions. She saw
Yeah.
things coming that we still are going to see coming towards us.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Mm-hmm.
other reason, and I say this in my book, I wrote that book because my mama kept telling me as I was growing up, girl, you need to write a book. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a kid, girl, you need to write a book. And then later on, because she passed away in 2006, heart related things, doing
Mm.
all the things for everybody.
Yeah.
All I kept hearing was, girl, you need to write a book. And then I think about my ancestral mothers on both sides of my family, father and mother side. How many of those women may have had the skill and the gift to write a book, but that was not even within reach for them? They're
No.
just trying to survive. They're just trying to keep having survive having these babies after babies after babies, or just being in
Listen,
Mississippi.
that's real talk because my maternal grandmother, I just turned 62, right?
Girl,
At
you
my
look good.
age, thank you. Thank you. That's because I've been on a healing journey, you know?
Real
And I
talk.
shed
Yep.
some of that crap that I no longer needed, that was no longer serving me. But I say that to say this: at my age, my grandmother was dead,
Mm,
brain aneurysm. You understand what I'm saying?
mm,
Worked herself to death. 11 children, hard work on a farm, all of those types of things. So I embrace every year because you're right. My grandmother, everybody has a book in them. She had a book in her, but
mm,
she didn't have, first of all, the rest to reflect, to meditate. She didn't have the luxury of rest to be
mm-mm.
able to say, I'm going to birth a new thing that's not a human being,
That, that.
right? You got to have space, time to be able to go inside, right? Into
Mhm.
your inner self before you can birth anything else. Because listen, there's a whole lot of folks birthing stuff that the world really don't need. I
Period.
said what I said.
It's real. It's real. And birthing stuff that they don't even realize they birthing.
Yeah, how about that part? Mm. Yeah, it's
But
deep.
yeah,
It's deep.
those
When you
those were my
start pulling back the
motivations.
layers, it is deep. You know, I
Mm.
talk a lot about dream again. I encourage people because I think that as Black women, at certain points in our lives, throughout the journey, you know, you had a dream what you wanted to be when you were a little girl, you know, and that was probably your purest dream, right? Even if that was
Mm.
just to escape the projects, you know, I'm gonna live somewhere else, you know, or perhaps you wanted to be a figure skater and there was no Black figure skaters out there, you know, so you gave up dreams. You wanted to do international travel. So I encourage women to dream again, whatever it was that dream that had been deferred. You encourage them to love yourselves again. Remember why you should love yourself.
Hmm.
And there's
And
so much
give
power
yourself.
in that.
Yes, absolutely. And as you know, as you were talking, I thought about, damn, what was the thing I dreamed when I was young? Oh, I wanted to marry Michael Jackson and be an actress and a dancer.
Well, girl, you know you had to get in line because I was older than you, so I had married him first, right?
His little self, he wouldn't have even been able to handle none of the people.
Are you joking me right now? And he must have known that in some iteration of his evolution, he had to know I can't handle none of them, so I ain't gonna handle none of them.
Handle none of them, so I can't handle none of them. Exactly. But I'm talking about, back when he was Black before he turned into a white woman.
You so silly. You silly. Oh my gosh. Wait, I can't with
But I
you.
said all that to say, like in my 40s, because I'm 52 now, in my 40s,
Okay.
I started, I wanted to go to this dance class. And it was an Afro Brazilian dance class. And I was like, I kept looking at it, but then I wouldn't go.
Mhm.
And I was like, nah, I wouldn't go.
Mhm.
And then I went one night and I had a hard time finding a parking space. And I finally went in and I just said,
Mhm.
okay. And it was just very welcoming. And long
Yeah.
story short, I danced with that group for years. And it was all grown women, like nobody, the teacher was from Brazil and she was professional. And there have
Uh-huh.
been maybe one or two actually trained dancers that was a part
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
group. But
Okay.
all the rest of us were like grown women just revisiting the idea of, oh, I can dance. We made costumes, we performed at community events,
Yeah.
like in parades. Like I was like, for going back to that childhood dream of being a dancer and all the,
Yeah.
you dress up for your recitals when you was a little girl and all of that.
Yes.
You do that
Yes.
as a grown woman, but we wearing feathers and sparkly things and sexy
And
things and
all
all.
the things that we want because we can.
Yeah, exactly. And
Because we
then,
can.
go out and perform and then go out and have drinks afterwards. It was a whole thing. And that is still a group of women that I'm tight with now. And even though I'm like
Yeah.
way across the country from them, because
Mhm.
there was something that rekindled and healed within each of us going through that experience together for
Yeah. Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Not
I
to
can
mention,
definitely I can understand that. I really can. I was in Colombia earlier this year, the country of Colombia, and I went to the town of Palenque, which was their first free town in South America. And they still have all the rituals and the dancing and girl, when they did the welcome dance for us, something was ignited in me. Not so much that I wanted to get up and dance, but it was a conundrum of feelings that I didn't really know how to process. i was
mm,
I was happy to see it. I was excited by it, but I was sad that it was almost like entertainment, that it had been stripped away from us so much that now it's a income stream almost, people are coming
mhm.
not to participate but just to be entertained. So it just dance is magical and it will ignite something in your spirit, whether you're doing it
Absolutely.
yourself or you are experiencing it through others. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there are dances, and I practice African spirituality.
Yeah.
And so, there's different versions of it depending on where you are. I won't say versions, but they all come from the root in West Africa of
Hmm.
Ifa. And then there's other ones in the other parts of West Africa. But let's just talk about Ifa and this idea of orishas. Each
Hmm.
orisha Oshun, you might have heard of that because, everybody,
Yes,
Beyonce made her
yes.
famous. Every
Right.
Orisha has a drum beat and
Uh-huh.
dance rhythms, movements that when you do the movements, it conjures that energy. So if Oshun is the
Mm,
goddess of love, doing her movements are going to circulate more love in your life and circulate more energy through your body. And
yeah.
so, like, you're right, there's this entertainment aspect that a lot of things have gotten boiled down to now. But for
Hmm.
our people and our ancestors, that was medicine. That
That
was
was
part of what
medicine.
helped us to heal. That was part of
Yes,
what got me on track with healing is the
that's
dance.
right. That's right. That's right. So,
So you was feeling me honest.
that's right. Release that tension through your hips. That's the whole
Ooh.
hip movement, right? When you feel intense and anxious about something, start moving those hips. And we get back
Mhm.
to that whole Jezebel kind of, imagery. However, like you said, this is a part of the healing process. You walk
Absolutely.
around tight all the time,
It got
you ain't
nowhere to
good for
go.
yourself and nobody else.
It got nowhere to go. The earth has a rhythm. We got a rhythm. Your heart has a beat. Everything has a rhythm in it. I'm sitting over bouncing, but everything has
I
its
see you. Wait a minute. When that 808 hit, right, you got to move.
exactly. Child, I will break out into the dance in a minute. You'll be like, oh, what we doing? What?
That's my
Because
daughter. She
why
is
the fuck not?
always moving. Yes. Yes.
Why
It's
not?
healing. It's cathartic. Just the same way
Mhm.
writing can be. I know I'm a big proponent of journaling, like get it out. And
Yes.
then once you write it down and get it out, get up and move. I don't care what you do. Shake it off, dance it off, but you have to
Mhm.
release that negative energy. Otherwise, it's going to what? Settle and metastasize. Did I say that right?
Mhm.
It's going to turn
Mhm.
into something you don't want
It's
in
gonna
your
turn into
physical being.
heart issues. It's gonna turn into tumors and kidneys and all kinds of things that don't. Your body is like, I ain't have no place to put it, so I packaged it up so it wouldn't kill you, but it's still here. What you gonna do?
What you going to do?
That's
That's right. That's right. And so, as people of color and coming out of being an enslaved people, we only got to do that, what, once a week in church services or whatever, right?
get the
You
Holy
working all
Ghost.
the time. Where do you release that? So let's look at
Mhm.
how young our ancestors were when they passed
That
this
part,
earth, right?
yes.
I mean, they were young people because all of that energy was just negative in their bodies, in their spirits, in their souls.
Mhm.
Listen, we could go on and on about that.
And the one thing I will say too, as we heading, are we heading towards the end? I don't know. But the one thing that came up
Oh,
around
girl,
that
keep
is
talking. Keep talking. We're having a good
this
time.
idea, the what our ancestors, and I'm gonna just, it's all of them, but my thing is with the women, the
Yep.
ancestral mothers, because we what not only were working and plowing and doing the things and dealing with fending off or maybe not being able to fend off masses advances, we was also doing all of this while pregnant and birthing and feeding and breastfeeding and all the things. So we was doing triple duty. They had no space, as we talked about, to be able to meditate, to be able to breathe, to be able to do the things, or to be able to travel when and how they wanted to.
That's right.
Not even down the block, down the street, down the road to the next plantation. So,
Mm-hmm.
like now, to explore the world, to
Ooh.
explore all the different places on this beautiful planet, which is a feminine energy in and of itself,
Mm-hmm.
that's given them what they didn't get to have in life. Now that they're in spirit and living through us and our DNA, every time we get to go and experience something new for ourselves, it's something new for them too.
As
And
they
that's part
say,
of the healing that can happen. You talking about ancestral healing? It's by
yes.
doing this shit right here, right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's what they say.
Ooh,
We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. You know?
wildest dreams.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So,
Mm.
we talk about a lot about healing, and you happen to wear your healing. It's on your chest. Your wings are on
Oh
your
yeah.
chest, And the day that we met in Costa Rica, everything about you had wings. I think your pants had a butterfly or a black woman who was,
That's my
spreading her
logo.
wings. I loved it. And then we had the nerve to find a statue that had like bronze wings in the park. And I took the most beautiful picture. I'm gonna say I took it on because listen, I'm not the best photographer, but that picture is fire.
I still use that picture. I think I posted it on Facebook somewhere because it was just like it was like the wings came out of my back. Like
Yes,
literally.
yes, literally. Like I said,
Beautiful.
you wear
That was
your
meant for me.
wings, and that's what we have to do. We have to remember that we're not. It's not. We're not supposed to stay the same. We're supposed
Right.
to evolve. We're supposed to grow. So my wings now. When I started this journey 5 years ago, my wings were little tiny wings. Now they huge and colorful and flamboyant, and I'm about to show you my wings like the peacock. Like, check
You
me
know? Exactly. Exactly. And so one of the things I realized and when I was writing the book, the first
out.
book,
Hmm.
this whole idea of butterflies and wings.
Hmm.
I don't remember if it came to me after, because I didn't get this tattoo until like way after the surgery. Actually, I was healed. But this whole idea that I was writing about was about the transformation. And when I really looked into it, I was like, okay. And I didn't realize this before I researched it that but caterpillars, yes, we know that they go into a chrysalis and they turn into butterflies.
Yeah.
In that chrysalis, they are broken down. It's not just that they just turn into a butterfly, they are
Hmm.
broken down into a goop.
Mm.
They completely disintegrate. They no longer exist. And then all
Ooh.
of those same pieces of matter and energy reform itself because it already knows what to do into a butterfly. But even then, the butterfly has to bust its way out of the chrysalis in order to pump fluid into its wings for its wings to expand. So if you
Wow.
just open the chrysalis, that butterfly ain't gonna make it because it didn't have to
Mm.
struggle to get out of the chrysalis. So I
Girl,
was just
you
like, well,
just dropped
goddamn.
a whole word. What? Wow.
I was like, oh, the butterfly is showing us the way.
The struggle is definitely
And
real. You cannot have triumph without going through the trial. You can't. And I think, that's
that's part of the
what
human
resonates.
experience.
That's right. And that's what resonates in the safe spaces that we've created for ourselves on social media, in real life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's your opportunity to be transparently authentic with yourself and with others who are not going to criticize, are going to support you out of love and concern. We need those safe spaces. So I'm grateful for you being a part of my community, and listen, we all need one another. What's that old song we used to sing in church? I need you and you need me. We all need each other. And I think we need to stop acting as if we don't.
Right, right. And sisters, I have not. I mean, I love men. I love men.
Hello.
But the sisters is where that's a relationship, that's a healing, that's a circle, that's the medicine that we need first and foremost.
Mm.
And then the men get to or women, because whoever and whatever you like to love, I'm what all
Whatever
love,
whatever you love, I'm happy for you.
but this has to be solid, and then everybody else gets to benefit from it.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of women that I talk to, they struggle with shedding old friendships and relationships. And what I
Mm,
say to them is that you're simply making room for what you really need at this stage of your life. Everybody that you knew is not purposed to join you on every leg of your journey. So you got to love them and then you got to release them,
yep.
because you can open your arms, spread your wings for somebody else to see that part of your journey, right? That part of
Hmm.
your evolution. There's a lot of girlfriends that I had back in the day. They not here.
Mm-mm.
This ain't them.
Priorities and your priorities are different.
Mm-hmm.
Like for some people, it's still it's still about. I mean, granted, we all need money, but I don't need the approval or the accolades from any of these corporate jobs anymore.
Ooh,
That took up a lot of my life and took away years off of my life.
say it.
You're not doing
Say
that
it.
anymore. You're not doing
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because what would happen, and this is going back to everything was built on and flows out of a Black woman's womb and her back. What would
Mm-hmm.
happen if Black women in every corporation, in every organization, if we just receded, that water just receded and went back into itself? Would those companies and organizations still thrive?
Absolutely not. What would the earth be without the Black woman?
It
It could
wouldn't. It
not.
wouldn't
It
be.
wouldn't. It would cease to exist. Really, life as we know it would cease to exist.
Period. So in the spiritual tradition that I practice, there's a story that talks about, I'll just use general term. God sent the emissaries, he, she, because it's both, because it's God, it has both.
Yes. Yes.
Um, all of these Orisha, these men, this group of Orisha to build the earth, to build all the things, humans, like to build all the things, but nothing was working. And they
Mm-hmm.
realized, well, they didn't realize. They went back to God and was like, "Yo, we building all this stuff and nothing's working." And God's looking around, is like, "I sent a woman with you all. Where is she?
Uh
Oh,
huh.
she's not that important. We didn't need her. We just sent her off somewhere." Nothing you do can work without a woman. And so they had to go back and appease this woman. This woman was Oshun, which is divine love and
Mm-hmm.
water and all the things. And so they had to come back to her, and she's like, "Okay, I'll join you. I'll do my part."
Yeah.
But they had to appease her first after dissing her for so long. And then things were able to be fruitful. Then things were
Mm-hmm.
actually able to work. And what's amazing to me is even today, and all of the people who practice this any of the spiritualities, but this one in particular, they know that story, but still are patriarchal as fuck. It's like you just heard the story that nothing works without a woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yet you still are, I'm gonna say, discounting, and it's not everyone, but this whole idea of women being secondary, you see that in a lot
Exactly.
of things, and it's pervasive.
That's
But
right.
we've already heard nothing can work without women.
Nothing can work without us, and whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's only going to be magnified if you've got the woman you're supposed to have by your side. So if you're doing the work, the woman's going to make sure that the work is done and it's done the way it should be done. If you need to shore up your ego, which we know that is the most fragile part of a man, don't kick
Yeah.
them in the balls, kick them in the ego,
Ooh,
right?
child.
But
I'm putting my hoodie on for that one.
I know that's right. I know that's right. But a woman is going to shore up your ego so that you now look in the mirror and say, yes, I am the man. Maybe you didn't realize that before. The woman magnified that in your own reflection, right?
Hmm.
I think about, ex-husbands that were not the same stature of man that they were when I left. They were different. They were stronger. They were more confident. That confidence turned into stupid cockiness sometimes. That's why we ain't together. But at the end of the day, my magnifying glass as the woman was laser focused, right? So whatever it is that the world needs, the woman is going to magnify that
Every time.
every time, without exception, without
Mhm.
exception. So now, how you going to put her on the back burner? Or you not going to water her? You going to let your flower wither away, right? Because you don't see the value in your flower, but you're looking over there at the other garden saying, them flowers look good.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
All the
And it
things.
is exactly that. It's like pouring in, and that was the lesson from the previous life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Pouring into this one was like pouring into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Like, and you catching some of it because to your point, yeah, every of each one of the X's, the long-term X's, I won't count the, the little sums in
Yeah,
between,
yeah,
but the
yeah.
long-term ones, lives and their sibling lives
Mm-hmm.
elevated
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from that poor
That's right.
until they got cocky and said, oh,
Yeah. Oh, I am that. Let,
oh,
yeah, yeah. Let me act this out, in a
mhm,
way that serves my male ego.
that part, that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. We're
But
gonna leave
they learn.
that.
And I learned, and we learned too. We learned, oh, let me not give you all this goodness.
But
Or if I'm gonna give it to you, make sure I'm getting it.
but we want to give it. We're
Yeah.
capable of giving it. But you're teaching us not to be all that we want to be for and to you because you misuse it. And
Oh,
you put it back on me like you think you all this. No, 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 no. I am all that. But you got to tear me down. So then we learn that we got to guard that part of our heart that we really want to share. We really want to be open, right?
mm-hmm,
We really
mm-hmm.
want to be vulnerable, but that vulnerability is usually stomped on, at some point or another, or it's a boomerang effect. I tell you what I'm vulnerable about, and when we get into an argument, you boomerang it back to me so you can hurt me because you know what can hurt me. So therefore, I'm not going to be open and honest and true with you, partner, husband, lover, whatever the case may be. So we can't even be our true feminine, divine feminine self.
Wow, you just spoke a whole word. So okay, listen, I'm gonna need you to like take that segment out right there, and we're gonna post that on all of the places, and that's gonna be specifically for men to hear because they keep wanting to talk about and even some women, I'll be like, what are you, a pick me? Like this
Mm-hmm.
whole idea of being in your feminine. Oh, you're in your you. It's hard to be in your divine feminine when I'm gonna get real raw with it. When the
Mm-hmm.
dude you with is being a punk bitch.
Uh, that part, that part.
How
Wait
you
a
gonna
minute.
do that? How you gonna do that?
Wait a minute. Disclaimer, audience. She did ask in advance if she could cuss on the segment. I said you just gotta be yourself. I said because I'm probably gonna cuss for you first. So, but I'm
I
stepping
mean,
into a realm that
but say it a
you know.
different way.
No, I was gonna say I'm still
No, I
stepping
was
into
gonna
a
say
realm
it
that
a different way.
I'm not.
Our delay, we keep talking over each other. I'm gonna say no. You go.
I'm stepping into a realm that I am going to reserve for my Sagittarius daughter because she operates very differently. She says to me all the time, "Ma, you so masculine, and you sometimes you come across real hard, blah 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 blah." But I came up in a different era. I came up where I had to make sure that the things were getting done for myself, right? I was climbing a corporate
Right.
ladder. You can't be too feminine trying to climb the corporate ladder because they try and look up your skirt when you too feminine, right? So you got to
Right.
have this persona, right? You got to step into your male energy to be able to move in a certain successful path. This was the past. I see my daughter moving very differently now. She's all this feminine goddess and all this stuff. And I'm like, girl, I ain't got time for none of that. She was like, well, you need to find time. You need to
Oh,
step into it. So now it's your turn. Here's the mic. Here's the mic.
oh. What was I about? No, I forgot what I was saying.
Oh, shoot.
Oh,
Smooth.
the whole thing with being in the in the feminine, in some of these relationships. I can say, like, to your point, yeah, we have to tap into that masculine energy to get things done, to go to work.
Mm.
And then shoot, in my case, I was the breadwinner. I was the one bringing in the
Uh-huh.
money that supported the family. But how do I soften that if, okay, let me go into a different profession. This is my story. I went into a different profession or, came out of corporate America so that I could be in a different environment and soften. This See, I'm about to cuss again.
Mm.
And then they want to soften even more because then it's like, oh, I don't want to be the one having to take care of everything. So then they soften up. But listen, I'm not gonna have me and my kids are not gonna be broken and homeless. We're gonna do the things. So I'm gonna step in and do the things I need to do. So how do
Right.
you want me to submit to you, but
Mm.
also you not standing up? Like the fuck, I
Mm-mm.
gotta lay down and bury myself in under the ground in order to submit to you because you're not even
Do you
standing up.
understand what I'm saying? So does submission mean that you're gonna walk all over me? That's not about to happen.
Correct.
That's not
Correct. But to
so.
your point, so
Mhm.
one of the story that I heard from another spiritual elder, I think she has this on Facebook somewhere. She talked about that when those slave ships were taking us from the west coast of Africa and bringing us all across the diaspora, there was a spirit, there was energies that came with us, warrior spirits that came with the women to protect the seed, to protect
Mm.
the
Mm.
future generations. They
Yeah.
came with us with the feminine energies and the feminine,
Yes.
which means they receded from the men. And so
Right.
a lot of times when the way she described it, when you talk about this whole masculine energy and women just being angry, it's an energy that we had to have to survive. It surrounded us to survive these 400 years. Do we need it anymore?
Survival.
Probably not, but there's a process we got to go through to learn how to shed it, or
That's
to at
right.
least do it to, to be on standby. We don't need to be active right now.
Right. How about that? How about we need an activation button? All right, I need you now. But until then, let me be soft and let me operate in
Yes,
my feminine,
yes.
right? And listen, that is not easy to do. Like I said earlier, it is unlearning all of that and embracing the new. That's why you got to sit with yourself. That's why you got to be able to have quiet where you can hear your intuition and start
Mhm.
to trust her again. Because there was a time when we trusted her.
Whew,
But
that part.
then, but then in these patriarchal relationships, societies that we interact in, you know, we kind of gave her away. We gave her power away, and we started listening to who was supposed to be our protector and our leader and all of that. So I know for me, I went through a period where I had to really start trusting my own intuition. Like, girl, you got this. So when I say, girl, you got this to another sister, I'm saying that from my gut
Mm,
because I know what that felt like to be able to say it to myself. And I know how long I had to say it before I believed it.
that part.
So
And
that's
however long
that's
you
the
think this
energy.
you gotta say it, multiply it by 3 or 4.
That's right. That's right. How long they say how long does it take to create a new habit? I think you got to do something like 77 times or something like that and then it becomes a new habit. Well, how long you got to say to yourself that you are beautiful, powerful, love before you start, as my girlfriend would say, walking in it. Cuz you could say it to yourself all you want to, but you better walk in that thing. You better embody it. I,
That
I
part.
embody, I embody that now. There's nothing you can tell
Mhm.
me. There's nothing you can tell me otherwise.
And that process
Mm-hmm.
is a really interesting, intricate process. Because I can say for me, a big part of it, probably because I was running from it, was saying it to other people. Was
Yes.
never actually saying it to myself though.
Yes. Yes.
And then it got to the point where I had to say it to myself, but then it comes the repetition part. And then the
Mhm.
challenge part, because things will happen that challenge this new belief that you're trying to establish for yourself. And
You
it's
better know
like,
it.
did you get it like this? Like I heard one sister was like, it's like Dr. Seuss. It'll come back like, did you get it when you're under duress? Did you get it when
Yep.
you're feeling down? Did you get it when this happened? Did you get it? Like all these situations will happen to make sure you got it. But you got to
That's right.
keep going and keep doing.
You.
And that's
That's
where the
right.
community, that's where the circles, and that's where the sisterhoods come in because when it gets to be a lot, when it gets to be
Mhm.
heavy, and you're like, well, damn, maybe I'm not that. You got to have that sister to reflect back to you and remind you who you are
Who the
to
hell
keep
you
on.
are? As it says on your website, Black women are dope as fuck. Like undeniably, okay? Let me remind you again, exclamation point.
Period. Period.
Periods. Now you moved into, you were ghost for a little while. And I get that,
Yes.
because sometimes we just got to go and do what needs to be done so we can come back as that next better version, right? I tell people,
Hmm.
never be afraid to take time to recreate or get in touch with the next version of yourself, because she's going to be a badass when you get out of it. And you came out of that ghost period, and now you're doing a little bit something different.
Oh, yeah. This is
So
all the things.
social health is what you're talking about now. So
Yeah.
tell us what that really means.
So I spoke at this conference that Johnson & Johnson held last year. Um, about, and it's a, for people, it's a health conference for people that has gone through different health issues and to advocate for different things. And then when I looked at it and I was like, okay, so what am I advocating for?
Uh-huh.
Because I have so many different damn health issues. So it's like, which one are we talking about? But
Yeah.
at the root of all of them has been trauma, whether it's
Mm,
ancestral trauma that I came here with,
mhm.
betrayal trauma of having, a husband that cheated
Yes.
blatantly, um, and all the way to the actual things that happened to me health wise.
Yeah.
Living and dying in the hospital was his own trauma. And each thing happens in your body. And there has been a ton of research that shows the trauma that we've been through impacts our physical and mental health. And it's
Yes.
not just the trauma we've been through. Epigenetics has told us that the trauma moves through generations. So if we
Yes.
think about and this is where the ancestral piece comes in too, because we think about we've been traumatized in these 500 years, if we count the whole diaspora, 500 years, the living ones are still dealing with that. And it's showing up in heart disease, it's showing up in kidney disease, it's showing up in mental health issues, it's showing up in all the ways. Ooh, that's looking like some good wine right there.
Right.
Somebody needs to sponsor you. Black girls, what is
Please
it?
say
Black
it.
Girls Wine
Please
Unit.
say it. I'm looking for my wine sponsor. Are you looking for me? I'm looking for you. Okay.
I
I love
digress.
you, wine sponsor.
You see, if you were sponsor, what would happen is I'd have a glass too, and then we would toast it right there on the screen.
We would toast it and we would be pouring from the bottle, and I would show the bottle that it came out of,
Yes,
you know?
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we digress. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. But so what I'm really, I got the certificate as a part of that. I learned about it at that conference to understand what does it mean to be a health advocate or a patient advocate. But then what
Hmm.
I really have looked at, I'm like, okay, I've spent 20 something years in corporate America, different like large global organizations. I grew up in a small business family on the south side of Chicago. I have endured two extremely rare life-threatening health issues, lived and died a bunch of times, and I have, I've experienced life. So that is me. All of that is me. So what am I
Yes.
advocating for? I'm advocating for every aspect of life that can help someone to live a better life, especially Black women. That's what I'm here for.
Yes.
It doesn't mean
Yes.
Black men don't count, but I've
Right.
not had a life in this body as a Black man, so I don't know what you need. I can
Right.
tell you what you need from my perspective, but that wouldn't be me saying what
Right.
I've done as a Black man to get where I'm at. But as a
Right.
Black woman, I've gone through the things. So
Hmm.
when I think about health and all of the different health things that impact us more than anybody else, that's where, the health advocacy comes in, because most Black
Okay.
women don't realize that they're at risk for high blood pressure, that they're at risk for heart disease, and what that
Heart
even
disease.
means. I didn't even
Right.
know what an aortic dissection was.
Well, most of us still don't know what that means, but you survived it.
Which is, it's 99% fatal. People don't survive, which is why people don't know what it is, because the people that survive it is very few, and they ain't trying to talk about that trauma.
Right. Right. They're not trying to relive that. So what I hear you
Right.
saying, that it's a holistic approach to health, to wellness, right? Because you can't just attack one part of it. That's what
Right.
I've learned on my journey. You can't just deal with the physical until you deal with the emotional and the mental, right?
Yes.
So it's the hard work.
It
And
is.
you got to do the hard work. That's where the joy is, right? That's where
Yes.
the peace resides at the end of the hard work.
Where the money reside, where the money reside. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Where the peace reside, where the peace reside. But yes, that's the whole. And you just teed up. So my next book, that I guess this is
Girl.
my message, to focus and get it done. So this year, The Power to Heal is the title of it. And
Okay.
it's a Black woman's holistic guide to healing after trauma. And so what you said, I was like, oh, that is it exactly. There is no way. You're like, yes, the surgeries saved my life.
Uh-huh.
But in order for me to really save my life, I had to look at what led me there, and then
Right.
had to look at multiple different things. I'm talking about astrology,
Mm-hmm.
numerology,
Mm-hmm.
energy medicine, Reiki, Pilates, yoga, plant medicine, flower essences, herb, like all the things that are indigenous that our mothers and grandmothers and great 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 grandmothers did. I had to look at all of those things because
Yes.
guess what? My prescriptions weren't doing the job.
And they never do, right? Because if they did the job, if they healed, you wouldn't have to be on them for the rest of your life. If they worked as designed, but they are not designed to heal, they are designed to keep
Mhm.
you on that medication. So how long are you going to stay on Eliquis before you decide that you're going to do something physically different to
Mhm.
have a healing effect for your body? Now, I'm happy to say at 62, I take no drug. None.
Woo!
Zero. None. And I want to keep it that way as long as I can. Because I'm the first Black woman in my family that doesn't take medication on a regular basis to ward off high blood pressure. How you ward it off?
Mhm.
You eat right, you walk, do some exercise.
Do the things. Do all the
I'm just
things.
saying, do the work.
Do the work.
Now we are at the end of our time together this time, but this has been such a fantastic sister chat. I appreciate your authenticity, girl. You just show up as you all the damn time. And I
Listen,
love that about you.
masks are heavy. I ain't got time for that no more.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Exactly. And
Mm.
it's too damn hot here in Barbados, so I couldn't even put on, screw a mask. I can't even do makeup. So,
Oh, girl, you don't need no makeup. You got the I'm about to call Barbados. No, you're in Barbados. I'm about to say Bermuda. You
yeah.
got the glow. You don't need the makeup.
Thank you so much, sis. Half of it is sweat. But anyway, listen, first of all, tell folks about your specific services and then tell them how to be able to reach you.
Okay. So one, I have the book right now. You can get it it's in print, ebook, and audiobook. And you can get that on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can go to my website, any other places where you get books online. And it's called From Fat, Black, and Unlovable to Beautiful, Powerful Love. Don't be afraid of
Love
the
it.
title. In it,
Yes.
I talk about things, but I also talk about solutions. And I talk about the work. I call it the work. And so these different things that you can do to help work your way through trauma, because that's what it is. It's really working your
Mm,
way through your own trauma. And then the
mm.
next book that's coming will be Power to Heal, and it'll be in all the same places. Um, and I'm starting to work with nonprofit organizations now, because I
Okay.
found that like over 80% of the grassroots, the small nonprofits that are actually in our communities, boots on the ground doing the work that we need done, are founded and led by Black women.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Go
see a
figure,
need,
right?
we step up, we get it done. And
They need
so
it done.
that
They call
aligns with what
us.
my mission is. Right. And so I'm working with them because, I have this 25 years of Microsoft, Johnson and Johnson, Unilever. So all of these years that I spent in corporate America, giving
Yeah.
away, chopping away at my life. But the skills that I learned and the
Hmm.
insights and what I got, they can't take from me. So I'm
That's
like,
right.
that would be amazing if I can take all of that 25 plus years and
Hmm.
pour it into organizations that are actually doing good for our people.
Right.
And then my lived experience of surviving all of the trauma and the resilience, pour that into these women so they can have the resiliency and the sustainability to keep doing what they're doing, but
Hmm.
maintain their health. So I'm
Right.
combining those two and offering that as different programs to Black women and social justice organizations and community leaders. And for that, you can find me, any of the things, you can find me on Facebook. I'm Barbara Ohuninfa. On Instagram, Beautiful Powerful Love with the underscores in between. I don't know if there's scammers out there or not, but
Yay.
And then on Threads, Beautiful Powerful Love. On what's the other ones? Oh, YouTube. I've not been active on YouTube. I'm getting back to it.
All right. It takes time.
Sister Diamond is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So yes.
Yes.
She's coming out of hiding. I've been taking steps out, but this fall is going to be more of a fully Diana Ross coming out.
I'm coming out. Yes.
I want the
Yes.
world to know.
We're going to drop all the links in the description and in the comments, so everybody who's watching will be able to get the book, will be able to reach out to you and get what it is that they need, that you now offer, not through corporate America, but through your own stuff.
Exactly.
Okay?
For my own peeps. I get to decide who I want to work with, and it's us.
Yeah.
For the most part. I'll work with everybody else too if your mission is on point.
There you go. There you go. Right. And you and I are going to have to talk. We're going to have a sidebar conversation, because, my next retreat is attacking the swim disparity between the races. Why 85-90% of us don't know how to swim, including me. So real talk. And I've partnered with a nonprofit organization to jumpstart that for the summer of 2025. So you and I, we got some things we need to talk about, girlfriend.
Yes. And I'll be back in them international streets. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is with when we look at numerology, astrology, like all of these ancient tools, and I tried to deny it, but what I had to accept is my personal year from a numerology perspective was one that said, sit your ass down. Was one that said, go inside. This is not the one for you to be out. And I kept trying to buck against that. But that's the other thing that, when we think about the divine feminine and women, is going with the natural cycles that are there. And some of the cycles are more internal. Some of the cycles don't have you out like that.
Have you out there.
That could be a whole other conversation.
It really is. And I can't wait to have you back, girl. I just cannot wait. I'm so excited that you accepted the invitation. I knew that this was going to be a conversation that I needed. My soul food, you have fed me today.
You have fed me as well. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you. And we got to do that after hours one. I got some other things to share.
I know you do. Wait a minute. I know you do, because I hung out with you. So I know that to be a thing. Barbara, it has been a joy and a pleasure. Thank you so much, girl. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes. And to my viewers, wherever you might be in the world, I wish you nothing but peace and blessings.